Rani made a promise to her dying father. Keeping it would destroy her brother's life. Her father's last words were simple: "Tell Raj the truth about the accident. He deserves to know." But the truth? The truth would shatter everything Raj believed about himself, everything he'd built his life on. Let me tell you about the promise that became a prison, and why sometimes love means breaking your word. 15 years ago, Raj was driving home from college for Diwali. Their parents were in the car. It was raining. Raj took a corner too fast. The car skidded into a truck. Their mother died instantly. Their father survived, but was paralyzed from the waist down. Raj walked away with a few scratches. For 15 years, Raj carried the weight of that accident. The guilt shaped every choice he made. Every success felt undeserved. Every moment of happiness came with a shadow. But here's what Raj never knew. What their father made Rani promise to never tell him. The accident wasn't Raj's fault. The truck driver was drunk, fell asleep at the wheel, crossed into their lane. The police report was clear. Raj's driving had nothing to do with it. But their father lied to Raj, told him he was driving too fast, that it was his fault, that he needed to live with the responsibility. Why would a father do that to his son? Because their father knew Raj, knew his personality. Raj was reckless back then, arrogant, took risks without thinking about consequences. Their father believed that carrying the weight of responsibility would make Raj a better man, more careful, more thoughtful. And it worked. The Raj who lived with guilt became compassionate, dedicated. He became a doctor, spent his life saving other families from losing what he thought he'd destroyed. But as their father lay dying, conscience finally won over strategy. "Tell him," he whispered to Rani. "Tell him it wasn't his fault. He deserves to know the truth." Rani promised. Of course she promised. You don't say no to a dying man's last wish. If you're thinking this through with me, if these impossible choices fascinate you, hit subscribe. Because we're about to enter territory where promises and love collide. But after the funeral, Rani couldn't bring herself to tell Raj the truth. Not because she didn't want to keep her promise, but because she saw what the truth would do to him. Raj had built his entire identity around making amends for that accident. His career, his marriage to a woman who understood his dedication to healing, his careful, measured approach to every decision. What happens to a man when you tell him his life's foundation was built on a lie? Even worse, what happens when you tell him his father deliberately let him suffer for 15 years to teach him a lesson? Rani watched Raj at the funeral, saw him comforting other families in the hospital corridor, saw him being the man their father's lie had created. A good man, a careful man, a man who saved lives because he believed he'd once taken one. Was their father's lie cruel? Or was it the most loving thing he could do? Here's where this gets complicated. Because 6 months after the funeral, Raj started talking about guilt again, about how he should have been the one to die in that accident. His wife called Rani, worried. "He's getting darker, more obsessed with the accident. I think he's having some kind of breakdown." That's when Rani realized something terrible. The lie that had built Raj up was now destroying him. Without their father there to balance the guilt with purpose, Raj was drowning in it. So Rani had to choose: keep her promise to a dead man or save her living brother. Tell the truth and risk destroying the good man their father's lie had created. Or stay silent and watch that same lie slowly kill him. This is where ancient wisdom gets messy, because thousands of years ago, philosophers like Aristotle talked about competing virtues. Honesty is a virtue, but so is compassion. Loyalty is a virtue, but so is protecting the innocent. What happens when virtues go to war with each other? Kant would say, keep the promise. A promise is sacred, regardless of consequences. Truth is a categorical imperative. But a utilitarian would say, Break the promise if it prevents greater suffering. But what if we don't know which choice prevents suffering? What if both choices cause pain, just different kinds of pain? Rani made her choice. She told Raj the truth. Not because she wanted to keep her promise, but because she realized that living with a lie was killing him anyway. Raj's reaction was everything she'd feared. Anger at their father, confusion about his identity, questions about whether his entire career was built on false guilt. But then something unexpected happened. Relief. For the first time in 15 years, Raj could think about that rainy night without drowning in guilt. He could remember their mother without feeling responsible for her death. The man their father's lie had created didn't disappear. He was still compassionate, still dedicated, still careful. But now he was those things by choice, not by penance. Here's what I can't stop thinking about. Was their father's original lie wrong? Or was it a necessary wrong that created something beautiful? Raj became a healer because he believed he'd once been a destroyer. Would he have found that same purpose without the guilt? And if a lie shapes someone into a better person, is it still a lie worth breaking? But here's the deeper question. When someone asks you to promise something, do you owe them the promise? Or do you owe them the outcome they hoped the promise would create? Their father wanted Raj to know the truth, but did he want the truth itself? Or did he want Raj to be free from guilt? Maybe the promise wasn't tell him the truth. Maybe the promise was help him heal. Rani kept her promise, but not the way their father imagined. She told Raj the truth when the lie was hurting him. Not when their father demanded it, but when Raj needed it. She chose the spirit of the promise over the letter of it. This isn't really a story about promises. It's about what we owe the living versus what we owe the dead. It's about whether love means following someone's instructions or understanding what they were really trying to accomplish. Their father lied to teach Raj responsibility, then asked Rani to tell the truth to free him from guilt. Both actions came from the same place, love for his son. So when Rani chose when and how to reveal the truth, wasn't she just continuing their father's work? Remember how this started? Rani made a promise that would destroy her brother's life. Turns out the real choice wasn't whether to keep the promise. It was understanding what the promise was really asking for. Their father didn't want Raj to suffer. He wanted Raj to be free. Sometimes keeping a promise means breaking it at the right time. 6 months later, Raj started a support group for families affected by drunk driving. Not because he felt guilty, but because he understood the pain. Their father's lie had taught him compassion. The truth had given him peace. Maybe that was the point all along. So here's what I'm wondering. When someone asks you to promise something, are you promising to follow their instructions? Or are you promising to care about what they cared about? What would you have done in Rani's place? Would you have told Raj immediately, waited like she did, or never told him at all? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If stories like this make you think about the promises we make and break, subscribe for more impossible choices. Next time, Raj applies for his dream job. The interview is perfect until they ask one question. A question where the honest answer disqualifies him. The lie won't hurt anyone, except him. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is know when to break your word.